Hi, I'm Venus from Heart's Desire by Venus, and today we are here working on our hybrid journal. In case you're following along, I will put a little thing up here at the top so that you can follow along if you have just come upon this now. We are making a hybrid journal. So that is a book that's got a few flap pages, like a memory album or a mini album, but in the middle is a journal. So it's the best of both worlds. And so we're doing a step-by-step on how I created this. So the last episode, we did this cover here. And today, we are going to work on putting our spine inside and covering the inside covers here. So in one of the videos, previous videos, we made our spine. And today we are going to stick that in our book. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. And we're going to get this in there. So I do like to really make sure that your spine here has got, your flaps are definitely movable. Because once it's in the book, it's a little hard to train them to do what you want them to do. So this is the time, take the extra time and get the glitter out of there and make sure it is good. Also right now is if you wanted to distress this, which I think I'm going to, this is the time. I'm also going to trim up my little bits here. I didn't do a very good job when I tried initially, so I'm just going to take off, and that's just the tie-back that's sticking out from when we put the tie-back in here. I just want to make sure that that's all out. And again, if you want to distress, now is the time. I'm using my Distress Oxide Vintage Photo, is definitely well used. And let's just get that on here. Now you don't have to distress it, it's perfectly fine either way, but I'm kind of going for that shabby, vintagey fairy feel. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make sense to anybody but me, but that's okay. I just wanted to have a little bit of an aged edge to it. I know not everybody is into distressing. I am. I love it. I find it also covers up any mistakes that I might make. Now here, I don't know why I did that. I don't need to do this part because this part is usually covered. What I need to do is down here at the base, because that part will stick out after you've got your pages, your memory pages in there. So let's just do that on both sides, because that will be what you will see. And I'm not going heavy on this. It's just a little bit there. Okay, we'll get on this side. And again, all these steps, I'm just showing you what I do. You feel free to omit or do the same thing. It's totally up to you. It is, after all, your journal. I'm just giving you tips on how I create mine. All right, I think that is good. And I think we are flexible enough there. That makes me happy. So we are going to get this in there. So I always start with a bit of tape right on the edges. Again, that's for instant hold while the glue is drying so that I don't accidentally move it or it shifts out of place. You could totally do this straight glue. You could totally do this straight tape if you've got some good tape. Totally up to you. I like to do both because I think that is the best of both worlds. Plus, I really get that glue in there because, you know, you're moving these this spine a lot. So I want to make sure it is not going to come apart. So I'm just going to make sure my tape is really stuck. All right. Make sure it's in those creases. And I'm just going to peel that tape off. There we go. Make sure you get it off all sides. I have forgotten one part when I went to stick it in the book. I'm going, why is it not sticking? So here is the glue. And, oh, I don't know what I was doing. Oh, I got a bit of glops there. Wipe those off. So I'm going to make sure I get a good amount of glue in the gaps between, and especially down the middle here, because later that, ooh, I totally forgot, almost blew it. We're going to stitch in our signature here. So I am not going to go any further than that. Oh my, I'm so bad. I forgot about that part. Okay. This is why I don't do things like this often. I usually pre-plan. That's okay. We can stop. We haven't gone too far. So let's just set that aside. Sticky ends and all. That was close. And if that glue dries, we're okay. We can still get time. So here is my journal pages. Now I've got a few pages here from don't forget, the paper listings are below. There's just one here. That one is not. So I'm just going to fold up my pages. Goodness gracious, that would have been bad if I had continued. That's all right. Just going to fold my pages, and we are going to build our middle signature. Now remember, in there we have allowed for a 1-inch slot for this to go in. So easy peasy. And actually, what I'm going to do, so my glue doesn't dry out, I've got cereal bags here. And I'm just going to take my stuff with my glue and my tape. I'm just going to press it down on the cereal bag so that nothing's going to dry out. And I'm not going to accidentally stick it to anything, and put that on the side so that we have still got time to work here, because that was very bad of me. I got carried away. So we're just going to fold up our papers, and we're also going to add some other elements to this journal. It's not going to be straight digital prints. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, and I have done it in the past for some, but today I do want to get a few other elements in here. All right, so just checking my time, because I don't like these to run too long for you. I don't want to impede too much on your creativity. I want to give you some ideas and then unleash you in your room. So, all right. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, 11 pages. So now, like I said, I do want to add a few things in here. So I'm going to go get some supplies that we can add into this book to spruce up our signature. I'll be right back. All right, so I went into my stash, and I have got some coffee dyed lace paper. I've got some avocado dyed paper, some eco dyed paper, some bubble paper that I did on one of my other videos. Oop, got them all folded. Some more, this is more eco dyed paper. I also grabbed a book, a couple of books here. So these, I'm going to incorporate parts of these into my journal here. So I'm just going to start with the first page. And I think we're going to just put, now some of my eco dye papers, they have little holes in them, and I'm okay with that. Because you want them to be different and rustic. And then lots of times if it's too bad of a hole, I will put something over it to help it out a bit, but I'm okay with that. So as you can see, these are sticking out a bit. So what I like to do is I'll put them all in and then I'll go and trim it off later if I need to be. But I like to alternate, you know, a digital with a coffee dyed paper. And I've got this nature book here. Since this is all nature, forest, fairy themed, I thought I would take one of these pages out and put it in. And again, remember your junk journals, your journals don't have to have all the pages all the same size either. And that's what I like. I'm going to end up trimming that guy down, I'm pretty sure. Put that in there. Put another one of these in there. What else have I got? Ooh, a piece of avocado dyed. Another one of these. What else have I got? Ooh, I like this one. This one's a little thicker paper. I'm not sure what kind of paper it was, but that's good. And we're just going to layer up till I get sizing I'm kind of wanting. And I think I'll put a couple of digitals back to back. And what else have I got? I've got this lace paper. I'm going to put that in. So when you stack these, obviously the outside is not going to be, you know, you can see it's all coming out. So lots of times what I'll do is I will stack this and then I will trim them all out so they're all about the same. This one, most of them are the same. It's just going to be a couple of pieces. But again, you don't have to. You can just leave it. Oh, I'm saving that one for the middle signature. I like that one. Put that one in there. This one in. And let's see. I've got this beautiful eco-dyed paper. And you know what? I think I'm going to put this in here. And I think that's a pretty chunky signature. But I think that will be perfect. Because don't forget, we're still going to add embellishments to these pockets and things like that. So I think that is good. So now, like I said, I'm going to trim this a bit because it's really kind of, ooh, I'll get my clips here, kind of out of control. So all I'm going to do is I've got my self-healing mat and I'm going to get my paper rotary cutter here. Oh, I lost it. There. So I do quilting and that, and I do use my rotary cutters for that. But when the blades are starting to get a little dull from quilting, I will actually use it for my paper cutting. Just makes it a little faster. I'm just looking for my special ruler. This one will do. And all I'm going to do is just line it up here. I guess I could have used my bigger mat. And I might just do that because I have a feeling I'm going to scuff my table and I want to. Anyways, I can't find my mat. I'm a little unorganized today. So I'm just going to cut. I'll just start at the top part. And I'm just going to cut these. And again, I just go back and forth. Because you can see the inside ones get a little shorter because they stick out a little more. Yeah. Because they're on the inside, obviously. Now, if you had a print that was like right to the edge that you were worried about cutting, then I wouldn't do this, but I'm not. It's just the little salvages there. Cut those off. So you can see I didn't cut all of them the same, but I left the top one, but most of them are the same now. And I'm just going to do the same thing on the bottom. It just kind of tidies it up, and that way, you know, I'll move this clip over. Make sure I'm in screen here. And I'm just going to tidy up the edging here a bit. It does also make it easier when you're sewing them in to your journal. And just going to do the same thing on the top here. Remember, we have only allowed a 1/4 inch above and below these pages for our cover. So be conscious of that as well. If you don't mind it sticking out beyond your cover, go ahead, but I don't want to, because I don't want the pages to be damaged. So I'm going to make sure that I'm underneath. So move my mat. So now you can see, I've got this layered up here, which I think is perfect. So now we're going to, let's check the time. We've got time to stitch this in. So I have a little cheat, I don't know what you want to call it, cheat sheet. This is made for when I'm doing my journals so that I can get my stitches in the proper spot every time. So it's basically a piece of paper that fits these 8.5 by 11 sheets folded in half. It's got my 5-hole pamphlet stitch holes in there, which makes it totally handy for me. I'm just going to get my mat out, and all I do with that, find the middle of the book, and where is it? Holy smokes, there it is. So I got the middle of my book. I slip this right in the middle, and that allows me, if I line it up top and bottom, to have perfect placement for my holes. So when I'm at the stage 2, I like to clip it at the top here, keeps the pages together, and so nothing is shifting. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm just going to clip them so they're not moving around. Okay. And I always kind of do it in a V shape. If you have one of those bookbinding things or a giant book, some people will use it. You can. I just basically line it up and poke away. And the last one in. Perfect. And then I have that just here, handy dandy for any time. So you just want to make sure that you got it in the right spots, which I do. And now I'm just going to get my big long needle here. Ooh. And some thread. So I've just got a big long needle. Actually, I'll get the bigger one. There we go. Bookbinding needle, and this is a thicker cotton. I actually use this to string my loom. At least I did when I had my loom. So I've got lots of this, and it's nice and strong. So I do use this. You could use twine, thread, butcher string, you know, whatever you want on there. Some people will use wax thread. I've got lots of this, so I use this. So now remember, we were making a hybrid, and this is right back where at the beginning of the video where I almost forgot. We got to stitch this into the middle here that we have made on this spine before we stick this in the book. So get out my handy dandy guide, and this is where it comes in handy again too, because you're going to just line it up. And I just lined this up in the middle of the spine here, so the 1/2 inch mark roughly. Try and do it straight. And you're just going to take your poker and put it down through here again, through those same holes, and those are going to line up with the holes that we put in our journal. Hopefully this is making sense. So now you can see we've got the holes. And I sometimes just like to go back in and give it a little wiggle. Make them there. Okay, now because I goofed, there's a little bit of wet glue on the back side. No big deal. I'm just going to, basically, I'm going to, now, most times when you do these in the journals, you start on the inside and you tie it. But because I'm putting this into a book, I actually peel this up here. I'm going to start, there you can see I'm still, everything is sticky. So it's perfect. I'm actually going to start at the back side. So I'm going to put my thread through the middle here, and I'm just going to pull it out. And then what I do is I leave a little bit of a tail. I just take a piece of my 2-sided tape and secure it in the bottom, so I don't actually pull it through as I'm stitching. I've done that before, and I find that this is the best way to make sure I don't do that. So my pages are still clipped, so I'm just going to run it through the middle of my spine here, right up. Actually, sometimes I poke it through both ways just to make sure. Okay. And, you know, it does take a little bit. Get your needle through. If you have to go page by page, go ahead. There we go. I find the first one is always the tough one. So you're going to pull it through. And remember, we're pulling it right through here. And not too hard because we don't want to pull it through the back. And you're basically going to do a 5-hole pamphlet stitch. But we're just basically doing it in reverse so that the string is inside. And once we seal it up into your book, ooh, that's a heavy one, it'll be all good to go. So you won't have to worry about that. I mean, you could do it the other way if you want, but I just find I like it hidden and secure. Okay, so I'm just pulling it through the bottom section. Back down through here. And there's a million videos on how to do pamphlet stitches. I'm just brushing through this one relatively quickly because I don't think you need me to show you. I'm just making sure that everything on my threads are tight. And my 2-sided tape came off. Try that again. And then we're just going to go back all the way from the back, right up to the second from the top hole. Through my lined up pre-done holes. Because this is so thick, I'm having a hard time here. Come on. There we go. All right. And then out top one. Hopefully I'm getting enough of this on camera for you. And so sometimes I do have to go, you know, page by page here when I lose track of where I'm going. That's however you get it done is what's important is get it done. And through. Whew. Just about. All right. last hole going up and through. Oh, make sure I line it up properly. I'm sure. There we go. Just getting it through. The same hole. And on the home stretch. So once I get to the end here, I start pulling things a little tighter so that you are good. And it's just a matter of pulling each stitch through to make sure you've got no stragglers. And make sure I can see part in the back. And through the same last hole. And pull it through. Okay, before you tie it off, make sure, I'll move this out of the way now. See, I've got a little thread dangle here and I got a knot. So it's important to go back and make sure you've got everything secure properly before you tie the knot, because then you're kind of hooped. So, and I just put a knot in here. I'm just going to take this knot back out. I might have had too much thread. Goodness gracious, I do have a pretty good knot in there. And I'm not very good at getting knots out. I'm just going to use my needle and pick it apart. There we go. That's better. There. So you can see this is definitely why you want to make sure everything is nice, tight, laying straight before. And I just kind of peek and make sure. There we go. Everything is good and tight. Excellent. So we're just going to tie the knot off. Oh, am I tight there? Nice and tight. There we go. Tie my knot. Get a piece of 2-step tape out. Okay, and then I'm just going to trim the tails. Okay, so you can see, now I could take my clips off. Everything is good. It's stitched in nicely. So now we can go back to the stage that we were at earlier before I got too excited. And now we're going to run our beads of glue on everything. So let's try that again. Just going to bead my bead of glue all over. And I'm going to go up over some of the tape a little bit too, because, you know, I did have to put it on the bag there. And I really like to put a good bead of glue right up that thread in there so that when we lay this in the book, it's not going to pull through or move around. Okay, so you got your glue. Now I'm going to get my cover, which I put over here. Okay, got my cover. And very important part, let's make sure that you're all going the same direction. So this is the right direction, which is perfect. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to layer this right in the middle. Now remember, we allowed 1/4 of an inch on the inside, and we allowed 1/4 inch on the top and the bottom, and we're just running it straight across the spine there, and we've got this overlap, which is good. I'm just going to secure this in, burnishing it nicely so it's sticking down. And I'm just going to burnish right in between. Make sure your spine is sticking down on both sides. Okay, and then what we're going to do is because you've got that crease there from the cover, you're just going to crease this ever so slightly, okay, with your bone folder, and you're going to crease the back side as well. Now, I also, at this stage, will clip everything to keep it all in place while it's drying. And that's just a clipping through here. I clip in between the spine here in the journal. I clip on the other side. Got a whole bunch of these. Clip the front. You can never over clip to this. You can never over clip. This is just to hold it all in place while it's drying, okay? So we're just going to do that again on this side, and this side. And that's all you're going to do. We're going to let that dry, and then we'll be back for the next step. Thanks for coming. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day.